Hey everyone, this is Zero Bleek. This is a Zero Bleek podcast on your Friday, September 27th, 2024. And what a week for games and, console culture, as I like to call it. Just an introduction to myself. I am a gamer, been a gamer for a very long time. Primarily console centric. I do have a PC. I have built one, but consoles. My life revolves around console gaming primarily. And for me, this week has been a series of highlights in the console space. Most notably, PlayStation's 30th anniversary, as you can see behind me. Very special to me because PlayStation, the original PlayStation, is my favorite console, my most celebrated console. I think it kind of like changed the game in a lot of ways and grew this industry, the brand, especially the PlayStation brand, from an approximately 10 to 13 billion dollar a year industry to now well over, I don't know, if you count mobile games, it's a over $100 billion a year industry. Like mobile games alone, last time I checked, by itself accounted for at least $96 billion market share when it comes to gaming. And console gaming, while bigger than the movie industry currently, it's still kind of small in comparison to mobile games. But like I said, console centric. Love video games for a very long time since I first seen them. And this week was kind of exciting because they announced what they were going to do for their 30th anniversary. The original console released in 1994 in Japan, came to the United States in 95, and I'm telling you, that was a time to be alive because, it felt like the future was here when the PlayStation, originally launched. And just to take you through some of the stuff that has been announced for PlayStation's 30th anniversary. Series of PS5 Pro enhanced games. I guess there'll be some events and activities surrounding, the 30th anniversary. PSN avatars. I guess there's a Stars campaign that I got to look into on the app soon. And then, Last of Us merch. Not really a video game merch guy. Well, not a Last of Us guy like that, but for those who partake and like it, there you go. There's also something they got going on called Shapes of Play collection. It looks like some artsy stuff. Nothing I'm really into, but the meat and potatoes of why I guess everyone is so excited is the PlayStation 30th anniversary range that they announced. Now, when the PlayStation Pro was first announced, especially that price, everybody's eyes was rolling. Like, what the fuck is this? It's too expensive, for a console. $700. It's a lot to ask for a mid-gen refresh when we know, in a couple of years, we're probably going to have the PlayStation 6 on a doorstep. And, everybody was giving, both sides of the argument, for and against. But I think everybody's attitude kind of changed a little bit once I won't say a little bit, a lot of it, once we saw, the 30th anniversary collection console. I think it looks gorgeous, right? The color scheme is, if you're a PlayStation fan, right? Color scheme looks crazy. Again, look at this thing, right? This is the Pro, and I guess this is everything that comes in the Pro bundle. You get the Pro console, you get a CD player cover or a DVD Blu-ray disc drive cover. You get the DualSense Edge, which is their Pro premium controller. You get the standard DualSense and a matching charger and a bunch of other stuff included in the package. But it's all 30th anniversary, OG PSX branded colorway. And again, from where I sit, shit looks gorgeous. Now, I'm talking to you a day after pre-orders went up and those pre-orders were going in seconds. Like you couldn't even, like I tried, and it was just like, no, there's no way, right? Like pre-orders were announced at like 10 a.m. at least on the East Coast, in New York, and like there was no way. And then within seconds, I mean, even though like weeks prior they had like, as soon as the thing was announced, eBay posts were up, but like once I guess all the pre-orders were gone, the console was sold out. Those things hit eBay for like, I haven't seen a listing less than $3,000, to put it that way. Which is fine, but I mean, it kind of sucks that regular folk, are going to be hard pressed to get one of these things. And it seems like the scalpers are winning on this one. Hopefully Sony has something up their sleeve where there was only a certain amount released pre-order, and then like, I guess the day is supposed to release November 21st. Don't quote me on that. I'll double check. The consoles will be, released to retail, and hopefully some folks will be able to snatch one up live, because it'd be a shame if these things are lost to time to scalpers. Because I still see the 20th anniversary PS4 editions up on websites for $2,000, and those things aren't moving. And would love to get in my hands on one of those, but not spending $2,000. Sorry. There's also, I guess, a digital edition, non-pro version. And this bundle, I think it's like $4.99. I mean, again, it's still gorgeous. It's not a pro, but I would still take this shit in a heartbeat. And that controller, man, like look at the standard DualSense. I mean, again, like this brings back all kinds of nostalgia, but that original PlayStation gray color is awesome. I think this is how PlayStation should launch, like from day one. Like I've never really been a fan of this new design where it's like this, I don't know, Seto Kaiba from Yu-Gi-Oh! Collar style. Like I don't care for it. They also have a 30th anniversary dual edge controller, but again, I don't care about this. I think the controllers are a little bit pricey to begin with, and having been I guess an elite controller purchaser in the past, like sometimes the build quality doesn't justify the price, and I haven't had the benefit of having the edge hands on, but I mean, again, like I look at that price point and I'm looking at how it's constructed, and Sony's recent track record of late with some of the build quality and some stuff, at least from my perspective, like I'm not willing to spend $200 on a controller that I feel is only going to be around for another 3 years. I mean, hopefully it's forward compatible for the people who did buy it, and they're able to take that forward to PlayStation 6 as we all play Grand Theft Auto 6. But that's up to each individual consumer to make the determination of whether the price justifies the purchase. And then they also announced, which again, I don't know who's this for. I mean, I know some people like this product, but I think this is like one of the dumbest things, among the dumbest things Sony has released. This remote player still looks gorgeous in that 30th anniversary variant, but I don't know who's this for. It's not for me. So if that's you, have at it, have fun. Yeah, so that's everything from the 30th anniversary perspective. I mean, I guess they have some more stuff ahead for us in the coming months, especially as it leads up to the release of the 30th anniversary stuff. But yeah, that was like one of the highlights of the week, man. It's like we got to see what they had in store for the 30th anniversary. It's always pretty cool to see gaming has been going on that long, particularly strong brands like PlayStation. I hope there's 30 more years. Congrats to Sony, and thanks for all the memories. Cheers to 30 years. 30-year anniversary brought to you unofficially by Hibiki, Centauri Time. It's always time for Centauri Time. Again, not sponsored, unofficial. So there you go. Next up, Sony also had a state of play for September, and the highlight for me, anyway, was the announcement of Ghost of Yotai, female protagonist. I know the whole internet is like got their panties, excuse I don't know. Everybody's up in an uproar because it's a female protagonist. Oh, she's woke. This, then the third. Like, settle down. Like, it's not that deep. Like, play the fucking game. See what it's about. Like, everybody's so like, I don't know, anti woke or whatever. That they're not even like seeing the game for what it is. Like, judge each individual piece of art on the actual presentation. Right? Are the graphics good? Is it a good story? Do I like the character? Are we just writing it off just because it's a female and we're making all kinds of assumptions as to like what the developer was trying to do? Like, I don't know. The argument is kind of getting kind of tired and old. I know it's the internet and they're gonna feel how they're gonna feel, but I think it's fucking stupid. I think you play the game. If you like it, you don't. If you don't, if you don't like it, don't play it. Like, that's it. Like, I don't understand what all the controversy is about. But I think that has to deal with like each individual person and how their heart is constructed and how their brain is wired, as to why like these types of games with female or non white male protagonists, like how that triggers them into like feeling like they're attacked or something like that. If they're not front and center and part of the narrative, they have a problem with it. But again, like, I don't have a problem with a female protagonist at all. I just want it to be a good game that I enjoy. If it's part of like the genre that I like, and if it's fun, like, is it fun? Like, did you play the last Ghost? Did you play Ghost of Tsushima? It was a great game. I'm not Japanese. I had a good time playing it. Right? Like, at some level, you have to like have some level of empathy for the characters that the developers are trying to, and the story that they're trying to tell. Right? Like, you gotta kind of like step outside of yourself, see the experience that they're trying to paint for you, and if that that experience is something that you enjoy, like, then fucking play the game. If not, no love lost. But I think people complain too much about stuff. But that's that's just the nature of the internet, right? Like, I'm preaching to the choir here. It's never going to change as long as there's the level of anonymity that the internet affords for people with an opinion to post it up, because that's how the internet is set up, right? At least the social media aspect of the internet. Like, people are just going to complain about anything. Anyway, state of play this week, and again, my highlight was Ghosts of Yotai. They announced some additional levels for Astrobot. Astrobot being a really great game. This is something that also came out in the month of September. Hits you in the nostalgia, right? They know this. I don't know. This game was made for guys like me who grew up on PlayStation and has like tremendous callbacks to the PlayStation brand and its characters. Team Asobi did an awesome job here. And I like the fact that it's a mascot character, right? Even though we're kind of like going away from that whole thing, right? It's PlayStation's Mario, and a platformer, and I would hope Astrobot continues to be the current face, at least from a platform perspective of representation of the PlayStation brand. I think it's super cool. Ghost of Yotai, which we talked about at the top of this one. Again, samurai combat. It's Japan. It's one of my favorite places on the planet. And I'm looking forward to see what the story that they're going to tell with this one, right? It seems like tried and true story of revenge, or again, I don't know. I'm just looking forward to exploring a new area of Japan. I think I read somewhere that it was like set 300 years in the future from the original game. It's kind of interesting to see how that, what that time period is going to be like. So yeah, definitely looking forward. Controversial announcement, this one on this state of play, Horizon Zero Dawn remaster. I think people are kind of tired of Sony just going back to the well with the same games, just remastering everything. Like, we kind of want to I can't speak for every game, but from my perspective, from where I sit, kind of want to move forward. And we can't do that if we keep like remastering games that were on, last gen console. Like, why are we still doing this? They having people, the internet's been clamoring for a remastered Bloodborne. I mean, again, I don't know. Like Sony, I'm pretty sure they have the metrics on the sales and how successful that game would probably be, which may explain why they're not going to do it, or not doing it right now. But I don't. Again, kind of tired of the remasters. Like we gotta figure something else out. We're like Skyrim at this point. We're like porting it over to everything under the sun. Let's see here if there's anything else worth mentioning. Of course, the PS5 Pro coming out later this November 7th. More powerful system. I think you're getting more GPU. You're getting some AI upscaling features. I mean, developers will have more power to work with this one. Again, price is very controversial, but that's the determination everybody's individual wallets and bank accounts gotta make to see if they could absorb the hit or whether it's even worth it for them. My only hesitation is that we're so close to PlayStation 6, which everybody suspects maybe 2028. I don't know, but it'll be here before you know it. But yeah, like Sony, if you want to send me one, like that'd be great. There's also some chroma colors that they announced during the event. I mean, looks great. I don't like the whole console cover thing for this gen, but to each its own. And October monthly games for those who are interested, and for me, I don't think there were many other highlights of the show. There's some JRPG stuff, some Fortnite stuff. Hell Is Us was revealed, but I don't know. It didn't speak to me in the way it might have spoken to most other people. One standout for me was Luna Remastered. Like, I played the original Luna like way back in the day. Never finished it, but I thought this was pretty cool. Pretty cool callback to the old JRPG days on the original PlayStation. And I might pick that up. I don't know. Metro Awakening, the VR variant of Metro. I mean, it looks good. Metro looks like an amazing game, but super fucking scary. Monster Hunter, getting an iteration of that. Pal World, which I've never played, but I've heard a lot about. It's like Pokemon with guns. That's the only comparison that has stuck with me. When people have described the game to me, coming to PlayStation seems super interesting though. 2 new characters on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge. That should be pretty cool additions. And Sonic X Shadow Generations. I don't know, for guys who are people who are interested in the latest and greatest on the Sonic Saga forefront. Something for you in advance of the third movie coming out. As a Sega kid, this is always like a salty one because Sega's no longer around, and yet their mascot is parading around on other consoles, which is fine. But as a Sega kid, it kind of fucking sucks. And then also happening this week is Tokyo Game Show. Xbox has a heavy presence there. They had maybe an hour and a half show lined up for us. I want to say yesterday. Metal Gear, the latest trailer for Metal Gear Solid. Are they calling it Metal Gear Solid Delta? Snake Eater, which I can't discern. Well, I don't remember if it was like a retelling of the original Snake Eater with some updated graphics and stuff and features. I watched the trailer yesterday, and while it is familiar from the original, PlayStation 2 Snake Eater release, kind of not excited about this one. I don't know. It's just something off about it, at least from where I sit. But you know, Xbox had a trailer released. And some Star Wars interactive maps here. My Hero Academia is coming to Overwatch 2. Age of Mythology. This looks pretty good. They also announced a StarCraft remastered, and StarCraft 2 coming to Game Pass. Love StarCraft, by the way. I used to play it back in the day on PC, and hours and hours of fun, just building up armies and destroying opposing armies. A lot of fun. And I guess there's a new trailer on Indiana Jones, which looks great, but I want to see hands-on how the mechanics and gameplay are. But otherwise, it looks great. I'm excited about that one. Let's see what else they got here. Some stuff I never heard of before. And Katamari. We Love Katamari is coming. Well, it's on Xbox today. I guess it was released. That's what it looks like here. But this was like an interesting game out of Japan back in the PS2 days. And yeah, it still looks good. Still looks like a lot of fun to play, rolling shit together. Let's see here. There's some JRPG stuff, of course, because it's Tokyo. But again, looking for something that piques my interest. You got a Suikoden 1 and 2 remaster. It's back from the PSX OG PlayStation days. Dragon Quest 3 HD remake. A lot of remakes, and some of the Mana games are coming to Xbox as well. Get that out of the way. And give full credit to this article to IGN. They put this thing together. I'm just using it to map out what was released. So all credit due to IGN, particularly this guy Ryan Dinsdale. Thanks for putting this up. Yeah, I mean that's everything that happened this week that I can highlight for you guys as far as the world of gaming. But reach out to me on Instagram, Twitter, all the social medias. It's going to be Zero Bleek, and let me know your thoughts on the current state of gaming. Anything gaming related. Like don't reach out to me with no bullshit. Yeah, you want to talk games, you want to play games, hit me up on social medias at Zero Bleek. And yeah, that's the week of September 27th in gaming. But before I sign off, kind of do want to talk about the state of gaming, right? So this generation has been super weird, right? Like no price cuts to the hardware like we would traditionally see. $70 games, especially like ones like every game isn't the same, right? Like I look at games as like you gotta almost like how movies were way back when. Not every game is a $70 game. And I get that COVID impacted a lot of projects, and the consumer is a lot more discerning than they used to be, and money's tight. The economy is what it is. People have varying perspectives on how the economy is affecting them and their ability to do things. But gaming as a sport, as a hobby, as a source of entertainment, as a source of relaxation, it's expensive. So I get that, like, in order for us to have the, supposedly, the best graphics, gameplay, these expensive games, these teams are super huge. They have sometimes some crazy budgets, and some of the targets, the projections and targets that they try to hit when it comes to selling these games, they don't always meet the expectations and have to do layoffs. There's been industry-wide layoffs. I think every industry has been hit with layoffs, especially after COVID. I think companies are deciding to downsize from the spending that they might have done during COVID to make sure that productivity was up. They had hired all these people, and now the job market specifically, is correcting itself. And over the course of the last year or so, a lot of people in the game industry, have been let go from jobs. It's been a lot of consolidation and downsizing. Microsoft recently laid off a bunch of folks from this gaming division, but that was foreseeable after the whole, Activision Blizzard acquisition. Three separate companies. Two separate companies merging together. There was bound to be some redundancies that were, that had to be addressed. And it sucks, and it's terrible, and, I feel for those people who, are currently seeking employment and had to go through the separation process and all of that. Sound like mad corporate, right? But yeah, it's just been this generation has just been weird, going from like the beginnings when you couldn't find the goddamn PlayStation on Xbox. Then you find them, and I haven't gotten a sense that there is a game that is A, taking advantage of the technology, and B, have been like a defining moment, right? In this generation of games, right? Like, what's the game that you guys can point to where it's like, oh my god, that's next gen? Like, I mean, I get like it's harder and harder to do that because so many games can push the graphical envelope. But what's the game that's pushed the gaming concept? What's revolutionized that for a majority of people, not niche games that may have something innovative but nobody knows about. Like, nobody knows about those. But if you find yourself in the comments on one of my pages, just note in the comments, like, what's that game for you this generation? Excuse me. And if there is none, what's that game of all time? What's your greatest game of all time, right? With this channel, with this podcast, with all this stuff, I just hope to like connect with more people on gaming positively, right? Like, I don't want to argue about your opinion on games. That's your opinion, I love games. I care about games. I love the game industry. I like talking about it. Sometimes I like arguing about it with friends, about what we like, what we don't like. As a reformed console warrior, I think the argument is still kind of stupid, but I do enjoy mixing it up a little bit. Just like, don't come from it from a perspective of like you gonna like die for this corporation, which corporations don't really care about you; they care about your money. But at the same time, sometimes it's fun to just talk about the different strategies and approaches that different companies undertake in order to win your dollars, whether it's effective or not. You gotta come from it from like a really clinical perspective, because like taking it personal makes no sense. None of these corporations love you. Sony is not kissing you on the forehead at night when you go to bed. Xbox is not tucking you in and making sure the door is cracked a little bit, so you're not scared of the dark. None of that shit's happening with these guys. So, that being said, just have fun, man. Like, that's the whole point of this genre. Is like, this medium of entertainment. Like, it's all supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be enjoyable. It's engaging, thought-provoking, right? This is like the most interactive and refined form of entertainment that we've ever had, right? Like, the only thing you can go from here is like Matrix style implants in your brain, or like Star Trek holodecks. Like, that's the only place I see like any kind of real innovation going from here. So, enjoy it, right? Change is coming, like, will we have consoles in the next 10 years? Probably not. Everything seems to be going to a more decentralized type setup. If you're doing digital only, you technically don't own the games that you're buying, you know. So I guess we all got to try to keep that in perspective. It's just like, the industry is changing, gaming is changing, just like the world is changing. But we all have to, just keep the perspective that this is all supposed to be fun. So, if you like the podcast, like and subscribe. I'm going to post this up on, various different, platforms. Audio version of the podcast. There'll be a video version of the podcast. But yeah, if you like, if you want to hang out, if you want to keep this going, like and subscribe, send me a note. And I look forward to chopping it up with you in the future. Peace.